But even still, that what Jacob did all those years ago, to lose a son, is very painful, and we can see his anguish. He rent his clothes. He said, I will mourn till I go to my grave for my son. His other sons and daughters tried to comfort him. He said no. He refused. He said no, I don't want it, because he is missing his son. Remember, he was very close to Joseph because it was Rachel's kid and Rachel had died, so he clung to Joseph. And the brothers, all right, time seemed to bring no alleviation to the grief of their father, right? And now the young men were terrified at what they had done. They knew what they had done. They accepted that consequences. They went in sort of confident, saying, all right, don't worry, we know what we're going to do. We're going to lie to him, saying that he was devoured by a beast. But even still, even though they were dreading their father's reproaches, still they hid their hearts, and by hiding their hearts of the knowledge of the truth, which even themselves seemed very great. So even though they knew the truth and they hid it, the guilt that they felt was really strong, because they saw the serious anguish in Jacob's heart for his son. They did not expect that. They expected him to be sad, but and have dread, but they did not expect him to be so sorrowful that he refused to comfort them. Now this reminds me of something even greater. The Father in heaven gave all of heaven for us, Jesus Christ, his own son from his bosom. Brothers and sisters, God could have come down, the Father could have come down himself and died for us. But how much more painful it is to send your son to die the most humiliating and agonizing death. John 3:16, for God so loved the world. He loved the world so much that he gave all of heaven. Jesus had to ask the Father 3 times before the Father allowed him to take upon the nature of humanity to then come and die and be the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world. 3 times. And we see that parallel in the Garden of Gethsemane when Christ asked the Father 3 times, if it were possible, take away this cup from me, but nevertheless let your will be done. Okay, because Christ knew the mission, but he felt the anguish, right? And the Father in heaven felt the same anguish when he saw his son begging to take away the cup, but he knew the job needed to be done. So can you imagine that through this message from Jacob, how much pain did the Father go through to see his son, the Son of God, die for man who rejected him when he came to this earth, and die for the forgiveness of their sins?